Hi, I'm Big Ass, and I'm here to remind you that Scopely has your best interest at heart. We are people that love the gamers. We love you, and everything we do magically rains down and becomes the sensory beams of life that keep you happy. We're so thankful that you play our games, and thank you for trusting us to always do what's right by you in everything, events, features, and even what's coming in the future. Thank you. Big Ass appreciates you. Spend that money and buy those bags. Woo-hoo!
Fancy intro music, yeah! Woohoo!
Well, thank you for that inspiring message, Big Ass. Thank you for reminding us that Scopely is always there for us, in our hearts and in our minds, doing everything that we love, including this XSLB, which we're going to talk about today to get your opinion on was it good, was it bad, and everything in between. Goofiness aside, which I haven't done something silly and goofy in a while, so that actually made me feel good. I want to talk about this XSLB and get your thoughts. Now, let me go ahead and say that I'm coming into this video with a little bit of a preconceived ideas, preconceived thoughts, and the sarcastic intro aside, I mean, yes, I truly do feel that the XSLB was a fail. Let me explain why. So what I'm gonna do in this video is two things. One, explain why Scopely ran it how they did it. And two, we're gonna go over the players' problems. So I'm gonna do it in reverse. I'm actually gonna go through the players' problems first and then explain why Scopely did what they did. And I'll give you my opinion on whether or not I feel like that has any value. And what I want you to do as the players, let me know what you think as you go through. So at various points in this videos, I'll talk about, previous XSLBs, how they were set up and why. And we'll talk about various things like bracket changes. And each point, I would love to know what you think. As always, I want to provide accurate feedback. I realize that my opinion and how I say things and see things may not be how everybody else feels. And even though I try to go across Reddit and Discord and YouTube and Facebook, etc., well, I need the players to give feedback. And as long as y'all are providing that, I can be good at what I'm doing. So let's take a look at these two. So for those who are unaware, there are two types of main leaderboards in this game, SLBs and XSLBs. SLBs are just on your server. They stand for solo leaderboards, and XSLBs are cross-server leaderboards that can contain 2, sometimes 3 servers. Everybody loves when it's 3 servers, right? Hey, if you're part of the 3-server XSLB, comment down below and let me know how much you appreciate Scopely thinking about you. Yeah, those people are not going to be happy. I'm actually going to get tons of dislikes on this video just because of that, even though I had nothing to do with it. Doesn't matter. Rev's to blame. So the XSLB for Hugh, and let me go ahead and say this real quickly. Hugh is a good officer. I really do like Hugh. And the way it was set up this run, you had 50 people who win. In terms of total, you contribute across each bracket, 50 players are going to win, and then you have the top milestone to unlock you completely. Now, this is pretty normal in terms of the mechanic of top wins, and it scales down. But only having 50 winners is very new. Now, Scopely and the Arc Runner do have a legitimate logic process that they got to get to here, and I don't want to trash talk that. I mean, they truly did have a logical thought process. I will explain that in a second, but just trying to make sure that y'all keep everything in mind. Don't hate too much early on. Okay. So let's talk about why this was a problem for a lot of players, and my Discord was blowing up about this over the weekend. Number one is it only had 50 participants. Now, this might not seem too weird, but if you remember, most XLBs actually have 100. I'm actually going to pull up the XSLB that this XLB was based around. The Hugh XSLB in the background was based around the Ducat one. How do I know that? It's actually pretty easy because it's the same brackets. One of the things that changed in December was a experimental change, was they moved the brackets around. Now, to the probably not happiness of Ultimate DJ, I was very vocal that I wanted the old bracket system to be used with one caveat. So let me be very clear. Me and DJ are on opposite ends of that. It doesn't mean one's right or wrong, but we have different opinions and different reasons behind each of our masks. But there was a pretty big change in brackets in December. I argued that the brackets needed to return for the 30s and 40s players to be back to being fair. One, for what people are used to, and two, adjusting and fitting the economies better, in my opinion. And the level 50 plus players should keep the new bracket. What actually ended up happening was they just copied the November run completely. And I'm sorry for the level 50 plus players that had to participate in that, because that meant that your bracket was level 51 through 60. And that's just not fair. I mean, especially in an XSLB, that's going to drive away a lot of people from wanting to participate. So want to make sure we threw that out there. Again, I do think that changing the brackets is a good idea. I love the, desire to do that to make things more fair. I think the balance is needed more on the top end than it was on the lower end. So let's swap out real quick. That was one of the biggest issues, was less winners, but maybe the biggest issue, like in total, was there were no SMS. Now, I know everybody's going to say, Rev, why did you bring up the Jadzia SMS? We hated it. Simply to show you an SMS. And this is the last one. So this SMS and milestones were terrible, because this was the heroic way you SMSs copy and pasted into the next month, but not improving the rewards. Yay. As you can see, copy pasta can be a little bit of a problem. And this is why one thing that me and DJ do agree on, and every content creator, and every official mod in the Discord, we need a set standard for these things instead of doing like blind copy pasta. Again, this is not a shot at the Arc Runner. The Arc Runner actually designed things intentionally. Explain that. This is simply talking about processes. But one thing that didn't happen was there was not an SMS with this Hugh XSLB at all. So what that ends up doing is decentivizing people from participation. Why does Rev say that? Well, let's take these milestones as an example. Now, these are the lower end milestones. My milestone for this one would have been about 4 million, so 40,000 uncommon, that's a significant amount of uncommon for just about anybody in the game. So if I wanted to do that, well, let's take a look at where my rank 50 was. So at rank 50, which is funny, by the way, that the leaderboard goes to 100, even though the winners only went to 51 or 50. So 51 would have been 46, 57, 800. That's like right at what it would have been to finish an SMS. So basically, I could spend 40,000 uncommon and get literally nothing. And see, that's the issue. Like, SMSs are designed to allow players to get something of value for their work. Here's the skinny of it, and I don't mind this, and I promise this is not like a free-to-play attack. This is not, oh, Rev wants the whales to win. It's just the truth. To make a game work, it has to make money. XSLBs, SLBs, any leaderboard type, or what we would call auction style events, are designed to have a spending element or to incentivize spending. I think that's okay. I truly do. Make your money as long as there's a coinciding SMS that players can finish. So for me, I don't feel as bad if I have an SMS that gives me something for it, right? And then I either compete in the XSLB or I don't. Well, I would have had to complete the SMS's full range last month and still got absolutely nothing. So as you can see, this is going to lead a lot of players to simply not participate at all, which is exactly what Rev did, hence me being rank 446. Now, before anybody says anything, no, I'm not just making this entire video because I didn't get Hugh. It's not it. I'm not just sitting here salty. I just don't think that this is good long term. I think adjustments need to be made. And I do think that the Arc Runner and the dev team were very receptive to feedback that we provided over the weekend. But at the same time, I think this video is a necessity to gauge what the players think and what we need to really hone on moving forward. And let's take this opportunity to explain Scopely's logic. It took you 8 minutes into the video. I'm sorry, but we kind of need to go over a few of these and explain the foundation so that y'all could see Scopely's logic. And this is where y'all can agree or disagree on it. And I already explained this on Twitch, but I still want to know your opinions here tonight or today, whenever you're listening. So the logic behind why Hugh did not have a SMS and why Hugh did not have a normal win chain in the XSLB is actually the Borg refinery. So here's what's different this month for them. This is the first month that I can honestly say, somebody in the comments, feel free to correct Rev. You have permanent sourcing for the officers that came out this month ready day one. So if you look in the rare solo exchange chest, which great job Scopely on not even giving these any art. What's up with that art department? You'll find Galinar 1, 2, 3 shard chance here. Now, yes, the rare and epic chest will give you officer shards guaranteed, but you aren't guaranteed what officer you're getting or how many shards, but you will get officer shards. Needs a little eye button up here so y'all can see it, but it will give you officer shards. So Galinar's here, and then move to the epic chest. And there you'll find our good friend Hugh here at the bottom, 135. So what the Borg essentially is a copy and paste of a very good mechanic. You're going to hear a lot of copy and paste talk today of the Bajoran faction. But here's the problem. It's not near as valuable as the Bajoran faction for a couple of reasons. Let me boogie on out and show you exactly why. So pull up our faction menu. Here's the Bajorans, and it is right there. You'll notice we have this epic or elite loot exchange that you can start grinding at very early in the game. And look at that, officers. But hey, those aren't full pulls, but they are bigger. 15 max is pretty daggum good, especially if you're trying to source something as a newer player or a lower level player or mid-level player. That's pretty tasty. And look at all these other currencies and stuff in here. Look at the value of this. It just feels good. Like you actually want to participate in this grind. You want to get officers, and you definitely want to get more armada directives. And wait, I can get research done. And oh, the biggest bottleneck of the 40s, I have parts. Heck yeah. And now, of course, there are the rare and epic armadas that you can't participate in until you get to 40 plus. That's the same for Borg and for Bajoran. By the way, thanks for the lag there, Scopely. I appreciate the spinning wheel of awesomeness. So what ends up happening is you have 2 loops that you have to complete with the Borg, and it doesn't even pay out as good, whereas there's 1 loop with Bajoran. We grind 1 hostile for Bajoran that then gives us credits and everything to run the armada system, which pays out all the currencies needed for everything. The research, the the defiant, the rep, all of it goes from 1 mechanic. We go from hostiles to armadas to loot to officers to yum-yums. That's not how Borg works. Borg doesn't do that at all. Borg actually has to do 2 runs. Like, we've got a loop for one thing and loop for another. Because in the Borg loop, well, we've got a loop so that we can get the directives, and we still got to get our independent credits and faction credits. And let me just go ahead and tell you, Scopely, I'm sorry. Your armada chests do not come anywhere close to being more important than pulling 600 for me, Romulan credits, and my independent credits every day. Nowhere close. Now, yes, month 2 is coming of the Borg, and improvements are bound to happen, but you don't want to come out month 1 swinging low and everybody being like, oh, this is trash. Also, 40 plus again. So especially those players we have in the 30s don't even get a chance at Hugh, don't even get a chance at Galinar. And why is that an issue? Because even though there's a full pull chance in the rares and epics over in Bajor, the rare chest and the epic chest of Bajor give a full pull. These don't. No full pull option here. Just 5 shards if you manage to get that RNG. And these aren't available at all to anybody in the 30s. So your whole XSLB logic, while there is a logic thought train there, and I respect that and I see it, I think it definitely falls short. And this is one of those that this month is, and I know that players can be frustrated. We're wrapping up the video now. Let me know what you think here about all the various points I've made. I really do think that month 1 teeters so close to great. I really do, because it's so close to the Bajoran faction by revitalizing the Borg. But right now, it's not doing it. It's not doing it at all. It's falling a little bit flat because of the intense grind. And then, even though rewards are good, guys, the rewards are good. Like, can we say this real quick? Arc Runner, thumbs up. Look at the Recruit Galinar going on right now. The actual rewards, I already went and checked all different levels in terms of the dilithium and the uncommons are good this month. Payouts are good. You will get a pretty high grade in events overall from me in the post-arc run. Remember the video we did where we're going to do the grading rubric. But when it comes to officer sourcing, it's not near as good as Scopely thinks it is. And because we're building so many things around the feature that came out, now events are starting to feel very blah because of officer sourcing and them being blah. Payouts are good. Want to give credit to the payouts. But there you go. I think the fleet commander is fine. And by the way, I want to collect so I can start working on Spock. But there you have it. There's Scopely's logic. There's why they didn't end up wanting to run a larger XSLB with an SMS, because there's sourcing for these officers already available in the game month 1. And I do see that and respect that. But the sourcing is not good. And the second point right there, not enough winners. So at the end of the day, your players end up feeling bad and sentiment lowers. And that's never what we want. That's not what they want. So let me know your feedback in the comment section down below. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. It does greatly help out the channel. Live long and prosper. Stay safe for the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you on the next one. We outie. And see if Big S has anything to say in the future.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.